All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to the Intellectual Idiot Show.
Back on the Riverside platform. We're trying it again. We need to get off.
We're trying the Riverside platform again. It might be a disaster, but we realized with the increase in viewership that we are getting, an increase of traffic and response and
42 YouTube
engagement, we're trying to step up our game. So none of you guys can blame us. And if you want to blame us, then, I mean, Big Bad Ty Jesk will take you out back. So nobody wants that.
We're going to have an issue. We might have to have a little discussion.
But we're stepping it up. We're stepping up our game. We do appreciate all the support. We appreciate the increase in traffic to our channel and our YouTube and our Anchor and all that stuff. So thank you. Keep listening and keep subscribing. But yeah, so I mean, again, there was some hope with the Packers and the Cowboys, and then we plummeted back to a harsh reality that was, the Packer game on Thursday. Tyler and I were at the game, and I'll tell you what, Lambeau Field was dicey. There was booing. It was cold. It was snowy.
I will say, though, it was popping. We went to a country concert before. These local guys, my God, were they performing. We saw Santana Dotson, Ahmad Green. We saw this random Jamaican guy who was selling Jamaican patties from a food truck. He ended up going up on stage and singing a song about the Packers. I mean, it was a vibe before the game, and then once the game hit.
It was fun. It was very fun, but yikes. It was a hostile environment. The Packers were getting booed. Not good. So, Mike, I think you have the opportunity to gloat a little bit. So I'd like you to have the spotlight. Go ahead. Tell our audience that you were right. Michael, the first thing Tyler and I said to each other after the game,
Mike's going to rip into us,
was Mike was right.
We were a little too overexcited after one fluky win.
I will say before Mike goes, to our defense, I don't think you can blame us. It's been a harsh season. We were trying to look and grab some positive sunlight, and Mike just fucking took it and spread his cheeks and took a fat crap right on it.
And we deserve
Mike.
We deserve every crapping that's coming.
You're a piece of garbage, Michael.
One could say that I'm a realist on this season. We are all Packer fans, and I will cheer for them every game. But yeah, you got to take a step back and kind of just see how our season's been going and come to a determination that it's just we're not making the playoffs this year. I want to share like a quick take before if we want to dive into the details of the game. And I want to bring it up because the best place to get the best takes has to be at your local YMCA. So I was at the gym the other day, just overhearing these old guys talk about the Packers. And this guy brought up an interesting case. So I want to make the case about Aaron Rodgers' thumb and him affecting a lot of his passes and being inaccurate.
He even admitted his grip control was out.
So let's say that's like a key issue to the Packers season. He had an interesting take. Why didn't we just bench Rodgers for a couple games so his thumb could heal up, have Jordan Love play, and when Rodgers would come back in the middle of the season, if we could win 1 or 2 games out of the last 7 weeks as opposed to our one win, Rodgers comes back with a super healthy thumb and everything's clicking. I mean,
yeah, but then we lose. We still lose those 6 games with Jordan Love in though.
Michael, I like that idea, and I like what you said there. But I will say this. I heard another theory that I thought was really, really interesting. So Packers had an opportunity at the beginning of the year before the season started. And I listened to Peter Bukowski. I don't know if you know who Peter Bukowski is, but he's one of the top Packers beat writers. And he has a podcast called Locked On Packers, and I absolutely love it. I think he's extremely knowledgeable, and I get a lot of the information that I hear from him. But he made a point on Locked On Packers that the biggest thing to blame for this entire season was the Packers deciding to not take their bye after the London game. And the reasoning as to why he said that the season started to stumble downhill from there was because the Packers had their worst loss in the Matt LaFleur era in London against the Giants. They had a complete collapse. They were up 2 scores going into half. They faded. They didn't score in the second half, and they ended up losing to the Giants, which was a despicable loss at the time because the Giants were still seen as good for you, you little Cinderella start. That's what the Giants were still seen as when we played them in London. I mean, they've earned some respect now. I think people still think that they're kind of a hoax, but they're more respected now, right? If you lose to the Giants, nobody's like, what a joke. But then we were kind of a joke after that game. So we get back, and instead of taking some time to reflect off the game, build up a new game plan, figure shit out, take a week off, we are late getting to preparation. We are probably tired. The team was probably exhausted and like jet lagged and like didn't have enough time to properly prepare for a young, hungry Jets team. For the Packers, they probably saw the Jets as like they clearly didn't take the Jets seriously. Number one. And then number two, I'm almost done, Ty. And then number two, then they were like, they didn't prepare for the Jets properly. And that is a young, hungry Jets team that would want nothing more than to come into Lambeau Field and to beat the Packers. And like, then that's exactly what happened. Rodgers' thumb not good. And then it just started to spiral. Then the morale after that Jets game for the rest of the season was totally different. And it could have all been avoided if we just took that week off and got proper rest and got guys healthy. And there are a couple of guys that got hurt in London too. Like Watson, a couple other guys were out and they could have had an extra week to get healthy too, which I think could have made a big difference.
What I was going to say was the Jets, the young, hungry Jets averaged, I think it was under 2 inches per play this week.
2.77, Max told me.
2.77 inches per play this week. Ever since they lost
big, right?
That's huge.
Ever since they've lost Breece Hall, they've been an absolute shambles. Zach Wilson, they asked him, your defense, they really held up. They didn't let up, really any points. Like, what's going on? Like, do you think it was your fault that, the offense wasn't doing well?
They asked him, do you feel like they let them down? He said no.
No. Now Robert Saleh is not committing to him as the starter for next week. So we might be seeing Joey Goat coming back.
Elite. Back on track.
Elite Super Bowl talent. If they put Flacco back in, guys, like I'm actually nervous that the Jets could win it all.
Okay.
Not seriously.
Well, what do you have to say, Tyler? Do you have anything to say about what I said?
I was just going to comment on the Jets, like just kind of how they've turned into a disaster. But
I do want to talk to you about that more because that was interesting. But
it did start but the Packers season did start to spiral, like. With the whole quote, was it from Jair? Like, I'm not nervous, but if we lose to the Jets, I'll be nervous. And then we lost to the Jets, and then we lost to the Lions, and it's just.
Yeah, I just feel like that bye kind of screwed us. I really think it. I really think it did. I don't know. Maybe it's a stretch. I mean, because hindsight's 20/20, right? It's like. If the Packers would be sitting at 7-3 right now, we'd love a bye week 14. We'd be like, oh, hell yeah, we go play the Eagles and then we get a bye. Like, that would be huge. But, like, I guess that's not what the script wrote, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's time, though, guys. Joe Barry. You can't.
Max, you're so back and forth on Joe Barry. I know I've been pretty bad with my takes too, but I feel like last week, Joe Barry's making the adjustments.
I thought Joe Barry had a good week last week. He put guys in positions to succeed and put guys in positions to succeed. I thought he had a decent week last week, but oh my God. How do you allow 350 yards to Ryan Tannehill?
Because he's Tannagod. Ryan Tannagod. He is a god amongst men. So that's why. It's hard to stop a god.
I don't know, guys. It was a bummer. Yeah. I don't know, Michael. What are your thoughts on the rest of the season? Where do we go? What happens now? What would you like to see out of the rest of our season?
Besides saying that we need to score more points than the other teams.
Don't say that.
I'll go a little bit more in depth than you're right, Ty. That's my point number one. Point number two, Max, I agree. You had a take a couple weeks ago about Aaron Rodgers is going to be our starting quarterback until we're statistically eliminated from the playoffs. Agree with that take 100%. Once they are out, for sure, let's put in Love. Another thing I don't really understand our offense whatsoever. If we're taking a look at the game from Thursday night, there were multiple plays. Once again, Sammy Watkins, it seems like he just doesn't know what route he's supposed to run every single time. But Rodgers was making mental mistakes too. So I really don't know how you fix your offense, particularly the passing scheme. A.J. Dillon and, once again, Aaron Jones looked pretty decent on the ground when we needed them. And we went back to a little bit more of a run-heavy offense against the Titans than what we did, against like the Lions a couple weeks ago when Rodgers was just chucking passes 24/7. So I don't know what the solution is, but you got to figure out a way how you can click more consistently with your wide receiving core. It's nice to have Cobb back, that's for sure. Watson had another nice game, but it just seems like we're in disarray sometimes where drives just come to a complete halt after like a second or third down play where we just completely miss a wide receiver in route. So that's all I got.
And I mean, me and Tyler certainly weren't sober at the Packer game. So, I mean, we certainly aren't going to be giving our expert analysis on the Packers-Titans game. But we did a good job of stopping Derrick Henry. I mean, he had like what? He got under 100 yards.
We did a good job stopping Derrick Henry from getting the large, like 20-yard plus plays. But consistently, he was getting 4 or 5 yards when he was running. He also had that sneaky passing touchdown as well. I see, like, from the box score, maybe you held and contained Derrick Henry, but watching that game, he was getting first downs when they needed them to keep drives extended.
So I don't know. I want to hear your guys' takes on this, okay? I want to hear about where we go from here because ultimately – so right now we have 6 games left in our season. We're going to go to Philadelphia and we're going to lose. So we're going to be 4-8. And the season will be effectively over. So it's pretty much over now. But so at that point, what I would do is put Rodgers on the IR. Just say, injury reserve. Like, don't keep his pride and dignity. Like, it's not like he deserves to be benched. I mean, he hasn't been that bad this year. He's been statistically, he's like the 7th top passing yards. He's like top 10 in passer rating. I mean, he hasn't had an MVP season, but he hasn't been like bad. I mean, from Packers fans watching him, he hasn't looked good, but he's not bad. So I think you put him on the IR. You say you're done this year. Like, save yourself. We need you. Like, rest up, whatever. And then you just play Love the rest of the year. I think you have to. You have to prepare Love as a starter with other starters in a full week of preparation, week in and week out, for you to actually be able to tell what you have in him. If there's any potential there, if there's an opportunity, all we hear is Love's so great in practice. Love's going to be amazing. Love is this, Love is that. It's like, we need to see what he is, right? You have to see that at some point. Because if he doesn't get out there this year and Rodgers comes back next year, then I don't even think he stays a Packer, right?
No.
Like, I mean, we only have him. We have the opportunity to re-sign him for one more year after this. We can pick up his like option or whatever. And then he's a free agent effectively after his 4th year. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's just a throw in the towel this year, throw in the white towel, throw in the white flag, whatever it is, call it. I mean, I don't know. I just don't have much hope left. I'm feeling down after that last game. I mean, obviously some players have been showing some stuff. But it's just we're too inconsistent right now to win games. Our defense too inconsistent. Our offense is just bad. And I don't know. Max, I think you're right. Like at some point, I think we just got to bag Rodgers, see what Love can do for us, and then maybe Love will show something that makes the Packers fan base and the Packers exciting for the future. Like, oh, Love, like maybe he'll be something. So that's just kind of how I'm feeling.
You know what's interesting, kind of like what I'm seeing, and you know how the saying is history repeats itself. I'm seeing Jordan Love turn into another Huntley. Like, Huntley might be the Packers' future at a quarterback, and then Rodgers just has his MVP season. So, like, Aaron is showing that he's still a serviceable quarter. You don't think? What do you think, Ty? You don't think?
Mike, I'm disagreeing with you on that. My take is that we had Favre. Rodgers backed him up for a while. He became better than Favre. Love has been backing up Rodgers for a very long time. So now Love, therefore, will be better than both of them combined.
Whoa. Okay.
I think Love is going to be really good. I don't think he's Brett Hundley. I mean, I'll tell you this. Brian Gutekunst should be legitimately shot and killed if Jordan Love is as bad as Brett Hundley. That would be the worst draft pick in the history of the world.
Jamarcus Russell. Big boy Russell.
But, I mean, we have in the history, there's been a history of older quarterbacks dropping off pretty quick. Tom Brady is an anomaly, but like Peyton Manning did that. Remember in Denver, he won that Super Bowl through like 55 touchdowns. Threw 55 touchdowns, took the Broncos to the Super Bowl, and then they won the next year basically in spite of Peyton Manning.
And their defense, Von Miller and them.
I don't know. I've seen regression in Rodgers that looks like he's just getting older,
But
all right. Wait, really quick before we go on, Tyler, who do you want as D coordinator? Let's say Joe Barry gets fired. Who do we want as D coordinator? I want Brian Flores.
You want Brian Flores? I would like DeMeco Ryans, the 49ers defensive coordinator. They look unbelievable. I mean, he's done a great job. I know that they're saying he's probably going to get a head coaching job next, but DeMeco Ryans would be great.
Vic Fangio, he'd be good.
Yeah.
Mike?
You're asking the wrong guy. No comment.
I want Charles Woodson as our D coordinator.
I want Deion Sanders as our DC.
I want Quay Walker to run our defense.
Okay, you're cut. We're moving on.
All right, moving on. Let's start with the Jets game.
The next segment.
Jets. Jets.
We had talked about this before the episode, how we're going to go with our top 5 NFC teams and top 5 AFC teams right now as we speak. I can start off because I know I did a little research on some stuff today, but I'll start with the NFC. Bucks. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, number 5. Obviously, the record doesn't show much for the Buccaneers, but when you have Tom Brady, it's hard to argue that they're not in the top 5 in the NFC. I still think somehow, for some reason, they're going to sneak into the playoffs, and it's Tom Brady. I wouldn't want to be against them. They're going to make a run somehow, either to an NFC championship or to the Super Bowl. I don't know. It's Tom Brady. You can't bet against him, so that's why he's in my top 5. Number 4, even though the Vikings look like absolute frauds this week, getting plastered by the Cowboys, still got to say they're number 4. I mean, they're winning games. Kirk's look good. Justin Jefferson looks like the best receiver in the league. You got to put the Vikings in at number 4. 49ers for me are number 3. They're looking like a firepower again. Jimmy G's rolling. Everyone at their position, like at their skill position, is leading the league in yards after the catch. Kittle, Debo, Ayuk have all been unbelievable in terms of yards after the catch. Obviously, McCaffrey is one of the best offensive weapons in the game too, and now that they're utilizing him to the fullest potential. I just mentioned DeMeco Ryans. He's making their defense, he's turned them into a juggernaut. I'm scared of the 49ers going to the Cowboys. If I were the Cowboys, I would not want to play them in the playoffs, but the Cowboys are my number 2. They're best in points allowed. Their defense is absolutely stellar right now with the way that they're sacking the quarterback. What's his name? Number 11. Why am I forgetting his name right now? Their edge rusher.
Micah Parsons?
Micah Parsons is looking like a fucking MVP candidate, defensive MVP. Their defensive line is unbelievable. They're sack machines. Tony Pollard, Zeke's back. I mean, Tony Pollard's looking like an absolute stud. So Cowboys number 2. And then still sticking with Eagles number 1, even though obviously their schedule hasn't been great. Their defense is second in the league for Pro Football Focus. Their offense is 5th. They have the highest turnover differential in the league by far at plus 12. So that's not even close. Those are some stats. I know that their schedule hasn't been great. Max, I can agree with you on that, but I still think that they're number 1 in the NFC.
All right. So are we just starting with NFC and going around then?
Yeah, you can do your 5-1 NFC teams.
All right. Okay. Mike, do you want to go or should I?
I can go. Mine's actually pretty similar to you, Ty. Coming in at number 5, my wild card instead of the Bucks, I'm going to go with the Commanders. Commanders are 6-5.
Taylor Goat.
I like the Commanders.
I like that. Taylor Goat is leading them right now.
I mean, Terry McLaurin, like I said, probably a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL right now. He's awesome for the Commanders. Taylor Heineke, he's like Ryan Fitzmagic, except just like higher highs and lower lows for Taylor.
He doesn't
Heineke.
really put the stats up, but he gets the wins.
Exactly.
He's such a baller. Like, time out really quick, Mike. Really quick. Would you trade Rodgers to the Commanders for a first-round pick, Taylor Heineke, or for Terry McLaurin and Taylor Heineke?
No.
I'd rather have Rodgers than Taylor Heineke right now.
Well, no, meaning like maybe Heineke plays until Love would be ready.
Do first Heineke and McLaurin. I'd do that.
A first Heineke and McLaurin?
That's a tough bid.
That's a definite yes.
Awesome on the Packers. And Heineke and so the future is definitely Love is kind of like what we're going down here.
Yeah.
I think Heineke could be serviceable for – we've seen like enough of Heineke, but at the same point, it's like I still don't know if we've seen his like ceiling and his floor yet. There's just been so much in between.
His floor is he was a backup in the XFL before he came to the Commanders. So.
That's right. That would be horrible if you saw that Heineke.
All right. Well, sorry I sidetracked you, Mike. Go ahead. Finish it.
I love that pick, though.
Anyways, Ty, I also had the Vikings coming in at number 4. I think by de facto, we technically have beat the Vikings this year since we beat the Cowboys. The Packers beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys smoked the Vikings. So by transitive property, we beat the Vikings. So that's a good.
By transitive property, we're better.
By transitive property, exactly. And then I flip-flopped your 2 and 3, the 49ers and Cowboys. The 49ers looked dominant on Monday Night Football against – I know it's the Cardinals and Colt McCoy was playing. I don't even know why Kyler Murray's out right now, but the 49ers look scary. When Jimmy G isn't making stupid mistakes, they're an awesome team. They got Nick Bosa back finally. Nick Bosa, he's on the 49ers, right?
Yep.
There's like a mic'd up version of him. And he's probably one of the most chillest sounding like pass rushers. He's like, yeah, man, I just want to get the quarterback. Like, I just want to sack him. He kind of sounds like the actor that played Dahmer.
Did you see when he got the sack yesterday? He got a sack and he was just like,
yeah, I did it.
No excitement, like, defensive linemen are normally, Boss is just like.
He's beyond chill. And then also I have Eagles at the number 1 spot. I know they kind of squeaked the win against the Colts last week, but they got the job done. So
wait, so you had Cowboys 3-2 for the 49ers?
Yep. Eagles number 1.
Okay, then one is who?
The Eagles. So.
Okay.
All right. So mine, I'm going to make so many people annoyed with mine, I think.
Oh, God. Here we go. Another wild max.
So are we doing it with like our top 5 teams that we think that are in each? It doesn't matter
top
necessarily.
Top 5 in the NFC, top 5 in the AFC right now.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So number 5, it's not necessarily about like who we think is going in the playoffs or any of that. It's not about seeding or anything like that.
Best teams right now.
Okay. All right. So number 5, I'm going Seahawks. Nobody's talking
I like
about
that.
Gino
like that.
God. People apparently forgot. Tyler,
He's
you
now turned to the dark side.
like put up a statue of Geno Smith in your home for the whole season until he lost to the Buccaneers. I just think Tom Brady's done. Like, I just think he's done. I think the Buccaneers are done. They just suck. They're in such a bad division. They're playing absolute crap all year. Like, the Buccaneers they're bad. I don't think that they're good. I just think they're done. Seahawks sit 5. Number 4, I am going Vikings. I think that the Vikings are extremely overrated. And I'll die on that hill. I think they really expose themselves as major frauds, getting absolutely obliterated at home to the Cowboys. And then on top of that, they are the only 8-2 team in the history of the NFL to have a negative point differential as an 8-2 team. That is so bad.
That's disgusting.
That screams frauds on the top of Mount Everest.
So are they still number 4?
They're number 4. Number 3.
After all that, they're your number 4.
They're 8-2. I can't not put them in my top 4. Number 3, the Eagles. Again, I think that they're frauds. They're 9-1, so I can't exclude them from my top 5 as the Vikings. I think that they are the biggest. I think the Eagles and the Vikings will both be first round exits. And I'm very excited about it. I think the Eagles barely squeaking out a win against the Colts, and it just speaks to the attitude of the Eagles. Nick Sirianni going up and trash talking Colts fans when they barely squeak out a win.
Classic Philly people
that's so stupid. What an idiot. Philadelphia sucks. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Packers somehow snuck out a win next week. They come as 6.5 underdogs. It wouldn't be beyond my imagination if Rodgers beat them. Number 2, I'm going Cowboys. I think that they're legit. I think that they should have beat the Packers if they didn't play so bad in the second half. But I think they also have a curse. I think they have this Aaron Rodgers curse. I really think that it's a real thing. I think the Cowboys are just mental midgets when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. I think he owns
because of McCarthy.
And number 1, and I think it showed last night, the 49ers. They are a phenomenal football team. They are a well-coached football team. They're a machine. If Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't beat them, they will. I think that they'll win. I think they have a really, really good shot to win it all. The 49ers can control the ball on the ground like almost nobody can. And they have Deebo Samuel, which is, he is so good. I just think that the 49ers are a tough team to beat, and with their defense coming around and what you said, Tyler, their yards after catch is ridiculous. They just got so much talent on that team, and now with Christian McCaffrey, throw him into the mix. Elijah Mitchell, Christian McCaffrey in your backfield.
Brandon Ayuk has been a top 15 receiver this year too.
Brandon Ayuk, you got Deebo Samuel, you got George Kittle healthy. You got a great defense. I just don't see anybody beat. I think they're going to come out of the NFC. I really do.
So the question is about the 49ers before we move on to the AFC. What do you do as an organization for the 49ers if they go in this year, they're successful in the playoffs, they make it far in the playoffs? Do you still continue your project in trying to groom Trey Lance, or do you stick with Jimmy, re-sign him?
I think what you do is you trade Jimmy Garoppolo at the top.
Yeah,
you drafted Trey Lance for a reason. You need to retool now if you're the Niners because they don't have any picks anymore. They gave them all away for Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. So I think you try to trade Jimmy G and get as much as value as you can from him.
Well, the value is very high for him now. He's looking good again.
Yeah.
I agree, Max.
All right, go ahead, Ty. AFC.
All right, AFC. AFC is interesting right now. But, yeah, we'll start with number 5. A lot of AFC North teams for me. Obviously, the Steelers aren't in that, unfortunately. Bengals, number 5. Their defense is, middle of the run, 13th ranked defense, but I just really believe in Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback. They haven't had Jamar Chase the last few weeks, but they do get him back this week. They said that he's probably going to come back this week, so I think that, the Bengals are a team that need to be feared in the AFC. Could even have them higher, but, they haven't been amazing the last few weeks just because they haven't had Jamar. But now that they have Jamar, I'm putting them in the top 5. Number 4, the Ravens. They keep winning. Lamar hasn't been great lately. They've had so many injuries, as the Ravens always do. Their defense is in the top 10. I think they're ranked 10th right now. I still believe in Lamar. He's a winner. I mean, obviously his playoff track record isn't great, but we'll see what happens this year. They're my number 4 team. Dolphins, number 3. I could have them higher, but it's hard to say that right now with how my other 2 teams are. So I'd say Tua has looked unstoppable. They got Jeff Wilson. He's looked so good. He's put, another spark into the offense. Mostert. They still have probably the greatest wide receiver duo of all time in terms of yards and what they're able to do and get open for Tua. Every time Tua throws the ball, they're just fucking wide open because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are so quick and so fast. Tyreek Hill still on pace for the greatest season ever in yards. So Dolphins are my number 3. I still think that they're going to make the Super Bowl, but in terms of right now, I don't think they're the best in the AFC. Number 2, the Bills. They have an amazing defense. They're the 5th-ranked defense. Obviously, they have arguably a top 3 player, maybe even the best player in the league, Josh Allen. He hasn't looked great the last 2-3 weeks, but they started utilizing their run game. It really showed this week. Singletary, not Zach Moss, James Cook, their rookie. They really utilized them this week, and it worked really well. So I think that's scary because they're normally not a very balanced team. They normally just only pass. So it's scary to see that they have 2 pretty damn good running backs on top of their juggernaut passing offense with Diggs, Gabe Davis, all those guys. So Bills, number 2 for me. And then number 1, it's hard to argue against the Chiefs right now. They're 8-2. They're rolling. Their defense isn't amazing. They're 19th, but they still have an absolute juggernaut of an offense. And, they just have so many weapons on their offense. This new Pacheco running back, he's been really good. They just got Kadarius Toney. Travis Kelce went on his podcast last week and was just talking about him and how he is the most confident man in the room. He is the most athletic person he's ever seen, and he has unbelievable hands. I don't know if you guys saw him with that crazy catch last week where in the middle of him in the air, he adjusted his gloves and just caught it. It was just like – so I think he's going to provide a massive spark for them. They already look amazing. So I'm scared of the Chiefs. Max, I know that was your Super Bowl winner picker. I don't know if it was winner or to make the Super Bowl, but they're definitely looking like the best team in the AFC right now.
Very good.
I love it. I think I really think that was a great top 5. Mike?
Yeah, really, I've got almost all the same teams as Ty, except in my number 5 spot, I've got the Titans. I know a lot of people say the Titans are fraudulent, but they're going to win the AFC South. And when Ryan Tannehill can have a game like he did against the Packers last week with obviously Derrick Henry just always seems to get better as the year progresses. They're going to be a force to reckon with compared to like the Bengals. I don't know. That would be a good matchup to see, Titan-Bengals game. But
just a grinder.
I also have the Ravens at number 4, similar to what Ty said. And then I also flip-flopped 2 and 3. So number 3, I have the Bills. They look they're not fraudulent, but they look like they are a mortal team. We've seen in the last couple weeks that there's some shakiness that goes on. They've squeaked some wins. They've also had a couple not so great losses recently. Yeah. I'm a little concerned about the health of Josh Allen and
with his whole elbow issue
that's bothering him. Who do they have as a backup? Do you guys know off the top of your head who their backup QB is?
I could look.
Well, just to kind of go on with the Bills, it's nice to see Singletary warming up a little bit. I know over the last year,
Matt Barkley and Case Keenum.
Oh, they have Case Keenum. I forgot. That's funny. Singletary, I'm interested to see how he develops because this is his, 3rd or 4th year in the NFL now?
Like 24, 25.
And, he's a little booger. He's a 5'7" guy.
He's a motor.
I've tracked him over the last couple of years, and it's like they involve him, but he's never really had any good breakout games. But this past week, when they were playing in Detroit against, I forget who they just beat this past week. Whatever. But Singletary is is he going to be a guy for?
I think that's a great point, Mike. I mean, we saw that in the playoffs last year with Singletary. He absolutely ripped in the playoffs, and they've slowly started to up his usage this year. And obviously, Josh Allen hasn't been great the last few weeks, so they let him rip these last 2 weeks, and it's worked really well for them. They're starting to get a more balanced game, so I agree with that.
Number 2, Dolphins. Tua, who has been a starter and completed a game, he's still been undefeated. I know they had a bye week this past week, but they're just looking really good and scary. Like, I almost think that if I had to do a matchup, that's the reason why I put them over the Bills. Dolphins, Bills, if they had to play right now, I'm going with the Dolphins. And then the Chiefs are number 1. Ty, you mentioned they have a dangerous wide receiving core, but let's be honest, what's his name? Nicole Hardman and Juju Schuster, they both didn't play last week. And they had another wide receiver go down with like a hamstring.
Yeah, Kadarius, the guy that I was telling you, he went down too. So they just used Kelsey. I mean, you have the best tight end in the league.
Travis Kelsey is right now definitely by far the best tight end in the league. I think it's just interesting. You could hear a take from a year or two ago. Oh, is Kelsey starting to get old? Is he still going to have that connection with Mahomes? But this year, he's just still trucking.
He ain't slowing down.
Yeah.
He's 32 years old.
I got number 1, Max.
Mike, great list again.
All right. So one disclosure that I did want to do is I wanted to so badly put the Patriots in my top 5. Okay. But I can't. I can't solely because Mac Jones he just has so much to prove, and I don't believe in him.
What about Bailey Zappi?
And my argument about the Patriots is like I'm keeping the Ravens out of my top 5 because I don't believe in Lamar Jackson, and I don't believe that the Ravens have enough weapons, and I stand by that. So I cannot justly put the Patriots in with that argument. So that's why. So I wanted to, if Bill Belichick, if you're listening to this podcast, which I know you are, you listen to it every week, I did want to put the Patriots in. The Patriots defense is disgusting.
Bill's actually texting me right now. He's actually texting me right now. He's listening live. He hacked into our computer systems. He's not happy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, guys, the Patriots defense is disgusting. It's so good. I mean, they are going to be a tough team to beat no matter who they play. But my number 5 is the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow. I think when you get Jamar Chase back healthy and you got you put him with who's their other guy?
T. Higgins.
Yeah, T. Higgins could have been a Packers guy. Their offensive line has improved. Their defense.
Boyd's still really fucking good too. He would be our best receiver.
Yeah, so I'm saying Bengals at 5. I think that they end up winning that division too. I think that the Ravens are just the Ravens seem like a team. They're like the Packers to me. Like, I feel like they're wasting Lamar Jackson's prime by not getting him weapons. I just feel like they're doing him a disservice. I think John Harbaugh is a good coach. I think they have an okay defense, but again, they don't have enough to do it. They don't have enough weapons. It's just Lamar Jackson running around back there.
Yeah, and he's got a little Duvernay, but they just lost Rashad Bateman for the year. Mark Andrews has been out. He's been injured. Like, probably the second best tight end in the league. So that's a huge blow.
That's why they're not in my top 5. So, my number 4, I am 4, 3, 2. Wait, am I missing something? Oh, shit. Hold on. I did this wrong. I apologize. I counted it wrong. I'm actually going to put the Ravens in at 5.
After all that talk,
yeah,
you're putting in the top 5.
I can't put the Colts ahead of I can't put the Patriots ahead of the Ravens. They're not better than the Ravens.
Holy crap!
Sorry, I miscounted.
You're canceled.
Yeah, Ravens are 5. Bengals are 4. 3 are the Bills. I agree 100% with what Michael said. So just repeat what Michael said and put him there. And they're making Josh Allen do too much. He's got the Rodgers effect. He's taking on too much. Just you have to be able to trust your team, and you have to be able to do that. He's forcing throws that he doesn't need to force. He's trying to do too much, and it's going to cost him his health, and B, it's going to cost the Bills a chance at the Super Bowl. I can almost guarantee it. He's a great talent. He's a good player, but he's doing too much.
But they changed it. So
number 2, Dolphins. I spot on with Mike again and Utah. Like, I just think the Dolphins are really, really good. Tua's again.
Are they still the worst team in the league?
Week in and week out, he proves me wrong. Tyreek Hill is unbelievable. I almost don't have words for how good Tyreek Hill is. Number 1, the Chiefs, my Super Bowl pick from the start. Patrick Mahomes is just on a different level than everybody else in the league. It's not even close. It's like the Giannis of the NFL. He's just on a different level. His game is elevated a step higher than the next best quarterback by far. So,
agreed.
Patrick Mahomes number 1. Chiefs going all the way. So guys, that did take us to 40 minutes, and I will let the jury decide, but I would love to have more time to think about this top 5 we want to do. It's an awesome top 5. We just kind of did 2 top 5s.
Yeah, I mean, we're
a week.
Pretty far in. Let's prepare. Let's get a big prepreration next week.
I haven't had any time to prepare for this top 5.
And I want you all to prepare slideshows for next week of what we're going to do.
Yes, I like that. To our audience, we are doing top 5 bucket list items next week.
Bucket list travel.
Get ready.
Travel.
Yeah.
Bucket list
travel items. So wherever we want to go, top places. We will be preparing.
Top 10? Because, I have a shit ton. 10, realistically, it's not going to take that long. We're just kind of mentioning it,
I know, but we could no, Tyler, you'll talk all day about your top 10. We're doing 5, and we're going to organize it to the top 5 places, 5 to 1 that we want to go, and then we're going to put up a poll. All right,
we gotta do a quick plug with FIFA going on before we end today's podcast.
I agree. We have to mention
we are the number 1 soccer podcast.
We know so much about FIFA World Cup. You guys, it's just going to blow your minds. Biggest upset in the history of the World Cup, 18-1 odds.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Saudi Arabia. No, he didn't lose. Saudi Arabia.
Cristiano Ronaldo. David Beckham lost.
Okay, shut up. Saudi Arabia, 18-1 odds. Beat Lionel Messi in Argentina, the number 3 team in the world. Biggest upset in the history of FIFA World Cup. I watched the highlights. Literally, I think Argentina scored 5 goals, and 4 of them were taken back from offside calls that were really dicey calls. Yeah, and Saudi Arabia, oh my God! I mean, they're not a good team.
They just beat Argentina, and then you discredit Saudi Arabia.
Maybe they're gonna win it all. The Saudis are gonna win it all.
I just woke up Cash, and she's pissed. All right. I mean, America blew it, right? Didn't they blow a lead?
Yeah, they had a 1-0 lead, and they the defensive player fucking tackled him in the box, and they hit the free kick. So
we play the bloody Brits. We play England
the Brits
on
scored
Friday.
6 goals this game. We're fucked. The Brits are so good.
Absolutely killed against Great Britain.
Harry Kane is too good.
All right, guys. Well, we need to minimize our talk about the World Cup or it'll discredit our knowledge. So anyway, thank you all for listening. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. I don't know. So just figure out a way to listen to us, because if you're not, you're doing yourself a disservice, because we are the goats of knowledge when it comes to
the greatest soccer pod in the world. So
anyway, thank you guys. We appreciate you all. Don't forget to subscribe. Ty, take us out.
Huge week for us this week. We gained 2 followers on YouTube, so we're up to 52. But great episode, guys. Let's get it. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Pod out.
Pod out.